And warm Pacific greetings, talo falava, malo lei, whakalofa lai atu, Anisa Bula Kiorana, and a massive welcome to another Pacific Health Talanoa show for today, Monday, the 30th of August, 2021. Ole was set in my time, 3 minutes past 3. Ia ai wa maua I fo I le tātou au nanga, e ala lea I le whaalawi loa o le soifua maloloina. We are going to have another interesting Talanoa with two of our special guests today. They have joined me, but can't wait for them to share their journeys and their stories. E ola whapena o natu nisi o tātou whamatalanga nei e tusai fo I mana tātou whaatalanoanga. So joining me on Pacific Health Talanoa today is Saviiey Nua, 29 years old, hail from the villages of Malie, Faleula, Asau, Solosolo, and Whangalii. She has been privileged to have been awarded the Pacific Inaugural Aniva Arts Residency by Creative New Zealand. She is currently working as she is a primary trained teacher and has a drive to inspire and re-engage disadvantaged students in Porirua. She also chairs the Ngā Uri o Whiti Te Rāmai e Moana Trust. She has graduated with a primary teaching, Māori arts, performing arts, and a Master's of Education. Our second guest today is Sella Roache Vaoliko, 27 years of age, hail from the villages of Awhenga, Siomu, and Sataua Saviiey. She currently works at Rainbow Youth Wellington, and she is a coordinator for that organization in the Wellington region. She's currently studying her bachelor's degree in social sciences through Whiti Polytechnic, and she is privileged to work alongside Saviiey and this trust, focusing on establishing workshops and collaborating in promoting awareness in Porirua and the wider Wellington community for other members of the NVPF AFF, which stands for Mahu Vakasalewa Palopa Whawhawhine Akawāine Whakaleiti Whakawhiwhine, and the wider LGBTQIA plus communities to thrive in Aotearoa and wider Wellington cities. Welcome on the show, Saviiey and Sella.
Hi, Lorenzo. Thanks for having us.
After mo lava no ya ata lo fa pato atu le sunga Lorenzo lo fa foel tatu po kalami ni yaso malole soifua malole soifua malangi mama talofa lava.
Talofa, man, and what an honor and a privilege to have you both joining me on the show today. Thank you so much for taking the time out to come and share your stories and your journeys and the awesome work that you guys do in Wellington. But before we get into our interview, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? I know I read out your introduction, but people want to hear from you what you do in the Wellington region.
Oh, okay. I'll go first. But thank you for that introduction. So, as you all know, my name is Saviiey Nua. I also go by the name of Saviiey. Lorenzo has also set out my parents and where they come from. So my mum is Talanoa Nua. She's also, her maiden name is Talanoa Leafa. Hails from Malie, Asau, and Faleula. And then my dad is Noa Fesili, which was my guy title, also known as Toma Oe Taloso. And he comes from Solosolo and Whangalii. So I currently reside here in Porirua, born and bred, raised here. So I'm a hearty Porirua kid. I grew up not knowing what I wanted to do in life, so it's kind of weird now to see myself in the educational space. Growing up, not liking education myself, it was kind of what would you call it? It was a surprise for some. Also going back and teaching in my old stomping grounds of Porirua College. teaching right next to my old teachers, being their colleagues, which was different. But it was awesome to be that support mechanism for some of our Pacifica students that were currently attending Puriru College at the time. At the moment, so I left Puriru College in 2017. Currently went and taught at other polytechnics teaching youth guarantee programs. And now I'm currently working at Pātaka on an exhibition based on the NVPFAF and LGBTQIA plus community of Wellington. So that was a great opportunity given to me by Creative New Zealand. Also, alongside Sella working, I currently chair the Ngā Uri o Whiti Mai Moana Trust, which solely focuses on youth development in the sense of the disparities we currently face here in Puriru. But yeah, it's awesome to be here with my fellow colleague here, Sella Vaoliko. But yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Sella?
As you all know, my name is Sella Vaoliko. I hail from Saviiey Nua, Awhenga Masi Umu. I was born and bred in Puriru. I was born and bred in Puriru. Sa ol no tupuai tono Puriru New Zealand. And it's home to me as well as Samoa, you know. So I was honored to be able to doing what I am doing at the moment with working with Rainbow Youth as the regional coordinator. So, you know, it may sound small, I'm dealing with the whole region. So I started with Rainbow Youth about 4-5 months ago now. And before that, I've been studying as well. So, and before that, I've been looking after my family. You know, university wasn't a thing for me straight after college. And so after college, I was straight into the work industry. I was working in low-paying jobs and that just to get by, just to help my family and stuff like that. I paid you know, I still want to go further in life. And how can I do that? Is by maybe getting a bit of paper or something. And one day I can help my community through whatever it is. And I think that since being here at Rainbow Youth, it has been a total blessing to me, and not only to me, to my family, as well as the wider community, to my Iglesia as well. I am also the president of our youth group, Iglesia Católico Samoa Poruane. And so just the blessings that have come through these roles that I have been in within the last few years. So yeah, it's a blessing.
Thank you so much, Sella and Saviiey. And my apologies. I am so sorry to our special guest on the show today. My apologies to our viewers and listeners. I had my co-host, Malui Fale, on the show today. You know, kids are being kids, and it's not going to stop us from doing, you know, what we have to do at home as well. So my apologies. I am so sorry, but my co-host has now left the show. She had gone with her mom to her grandparents. But I want to ask my first question to Saviiey. Saviiey, you mentioned that you had a very, very challenging upbringing. And for you to achieve the Pacific Inaugural Aniva Arts Residency by Creative New Zealand, can you tell our listeners and viewers, how did you, earn and how did you gain this massive award? I mean, it's a New Zealand award. Saviiey?
Thank you. I think a big shout out goes to Creative New Zealand, by the way. So I was fortunate enough to have been given this opportunity in the sense of displaying something that I was more passionate about. And from there, I guess I was successful in doing so. So pretty much it's the same kind of process when you apply for certain awards. So you kind of put in a proposal of what the general idea is, and then from there, then you go into a panel meeting, and then from the panel meeting, they make their decision. So my current proposal at that time was, when I saw the opportunity come on Facebook, I was like, I think this is an opportunity for my community to step out and start applying for it. At that time, I didn't know who was applying for it. So it was kind of pretty much in my head, I was going, okay, I'm the only one who might give it a go, so I'm going to apply for it and see how it goes. And to my surprise, they liked the proposal that I came up with. So it was a blessing on top, I guess, for me.
Thank you, Saviiey. Sella, with the work that you do as a coordinator for Rainbow Youth and for our Whawhawhine community, I know it is a very, very sensitive topic to discuss online, to be very honest, and I'm being very, very mindful. I'm being careful with with my ngangana for inale whaongai nei lungo le tatu whataranoanga de nei aso. What is a response like? What is a response like from our young, Whawhawhine youth in terms of being accepted and in terms of seeking support from you and your organization, Sella?
Time of Afsili. When I say being in Rainbow Youth has been a blessing to me, because I know, with the range of Rainbow members of the community in my community here in Porirua, as well as the Wellington, the wider region, there is no kind of support. There is no kind of support for the MVP5 community. There is support for the LGBTQIA+. Only support it's support in regards of our MVP5 members, community members. So what I've been trying to do is trying to implement that Pacifica lens, that brown lens within the organization that I work for, to broaden the horizons for the many MVP5 community members. We know a lot of our MVP5 members are working in silence, and they have been for a long time, which is, motivation to me and to Saviiey to work alongside each other in regards of just, waking everyone up. It's time to stand up. It's time to rise. It's time to come up and let society how we feel, and about how we are as people. We are, omato otato for your tanata, and so it hasn't been a good, my past is different from everyone else's past. And so we believe that everyone has their own story to tell. And so if everyone could hear our stories, it'll be maybe a better society these days, So yeah.
But Sella, we were on a Zoom phono last night with some of your church members, some of your church youth members, and I was touched by your testimony, Saviiey, to be very honest. Can you share with us, how did you overcome that fear? When you realized that you were born as a whawhawhine, how did you overcome your fear in terms of coming out and say, hello, family, my community, accept me for who I am and what I am? How did you, demolish that fear? Because I'm pretty sure some of our whawhawhine community are tuning in and listening in right now that are facing the same challenge. Saviiey?
I guess for me, it was kind of different. I think we all grow up with the same type of same type of stigma in a living situation when it comes to parents who migrated here from the Pacific. So it was kind of a very staunch type of relationship between myself and my parents. So therefore, obviously, they had given birth to a son and created this boy to grow up to be the man of the family. And to be the only boy that was born in the line of six sisters was even worse. So I think his mentality in that sense was, no, I can't have him go this way because that's my only boy. And yeah, I get the whole thing about it, but my whole being was, am I going to lie about it, or am I going to do something and just be who I am naturally? So as a young teen, rebelling from parents, as you do, I wouldn't say to do it as such, but I think that was my only calling for somebody to hear me, in the sense of my parents never paid any attention to who I wanted to be and who I wanted to be today, except for my mum. My mum is the gentle side of my dad. So the more she approached the situation towards my father and asking him, you know, this is who Saviiey is. We should just accept it and move on. And I guess for my dad being 70, around the 70 ages, he was born 1945, so World War II, yay. So his practices of parenting were the same parenting styles that he was growing up with at that time. So he didn't know anything better but to do the same thing he was taught by his parents. You know, this is the male's role, this is what a male's supposed to do type of situation. So I don't hold anything negative against my parents for what they tried to do, but at this point in time, I'm happy to be sitting here and to say to everybody that my parents are happily acceptive of who I am today, as well as my community. It was a big journey, but you know, a journey is meant to be made to discover things for the future, and that's what I've discovered. I've discovered my purpose in my life, as well as my dad passing away last year. It was just him pretty much saying to me on his deathbed that he was proud of me, as much as me and him didn't have that type of lovey-dovey relationship that a so-called daughter and dad should have. But, you know, these were displayed in other types of forms and ways. And to know that he was happy to leave us, to know that his family was safe because I was there, it spoke to me so deeply to know that he loves me dearly as who I am.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Saviiey. I will come back to you because I have so many questions to ask you, because my goal and my aim after the interview in our Talanoa today is that we touch our rainbow youth that are, you know, living in fear because of this topic. Some of them cannot even open up to their parents, to their challenges and that they're facing. But Sella, I did a bit of a research, in background before the interview, and I came across that you are a New Zealand-born Samoan, but hearing your Samoa, wow, I must say, wow, your Samoa is fluent. You sound like you are a Samoan-born. How did you come to speak the Samoan language so fluent?
I was in my childhood, in my upbringing, it was like any other. I was raised in the hood, with a lot of my cousins as well and stuff like that. But then there came a time that I realized that I was different, a little bit different than to all my boy cousins. I remember one of my there was one time where my family really thought, knew then and there that is when my family had put me in a rugby team when I was a bit younger, and I did not like rugby. My whole family are rugby heads. They all like watching rugby. So there was one time my family put me in rugby, and the only thing I liked about rugby was the spikes de la Losevae on the concrete. And that's when my family thought that and said, okay, Leah, okay, this is your first and last game. So then, and for my family to recognize that was I don't know if they didn't know how to react and stuff like that, but the love was always there. The support was always there with me. I have also sat down with my uncles, and they said, we'll still accept you. You are still our nephew, but we support you. And through my transition that's where I found my profound love for our Ananu, Tangangana. It was through Sunday school where I would, I would love to just speak Samoan, but it became a fear, not so much a fear, but beka ke maka ke sawe for Samoan I fani I alayan for Samoan ola onga, because my parents didn't see that side of me, and I didn't want to show them yet. However, it started with Sunday school, and then it started with college as well, the local Corridor College, where I went to is, majority of Pacifica. And so, the friends that I hung around with were a mix of New Zealand-born Samoans and Samoan-born who came from Samoa. And so I had the best of both worlds because I could connect and I could communicate good with the Samoan-borns who migrated here and also the New Zealand-borns. But it's just such a blessing to be able to be fluent in Samoan. That's where I found a lot, it became a passion for me to speak Samoan to my family members. And I gained motivation from a lot of my elders, especially my parents. My mom passed away at an early age of 28 years old in 2005, and so losing my mom was a big loss. But the blessing that came after that was my grandparents that who I'm looking after now. O mātua lo tina, o tangata, o toa manu na tunu, in my view. The teachings that my parents give me have, raised me, and the woman that I have been raised to be today is because of their love, their support, and just their, just their love. It's Talanoa for le workshop le Saviiey. Estelita ayaya le alofa from Fingufin Patino Imea Uma. So it was that love Saviiey Yatia as a Fafafini to be staunch and to sometimes be unapologetic, but overall be firm and know who you are, because you are everyone, has a purpose in this life.
Saviiey, coming back to you, another major problem that our youth are facing today is loss of identity, or they just don't know who they are. Can you share some of the the ways and strategies that our Rainbow youth should approach this sensitive topic, especially when it comes to them letting their families know or their friends know? Because I've come across a lot of, I've got heaps of Fafafine friends, and one of the most challenging thing that they face is being mocked and being labeled, in the wrong way, Can you share some of your strategies and some of the ways that you used to make sure that our rainbow youth get the same sort of confidence, same sort of feeling when they are ready to go through that transition and prepare themselves to share and Talanoa with their families and their environments.
I think research is key. Research is really key to somebody's transition in life, in the sense of, we didn't all just be who we were from just knowing in our heads that this is what we're going to look like in the future. But research is totally key to getting somewhere and where you need to be. Education or educating yourself around what is good and what are bad practices that we need to follow. Also encouraging our social workers and teachers to be well educated in the approaches that they use towards rainbow kids during schools, which are big practices that I see as a fail kind of at this point in time, from my own personal views and my own practice. And just having those one-on-one conversations with people who do understand. As Sella said, stories are important, and hearing these stories from other members of the rainbow community might help them become or do better or strive to do something about coming out. It's just, I think, going back to being mocked and called names is a normal, I think for me personally, growing up in this world of masculinity is very high here. So it's like it's either you're a boy or you're a girl. So there was none in between. So growing up at that time, it was just, it's either you get called this name or that name. But you kind of grow a thick skin to kind of brush things off, or try and utilize it in a way that those words can't affect you personally or affect you in that way that it does cause depression for some. I like to use the example of the likes of how the Samoan Whawhawhine community use the word mala. Sorry if that's not allowed on the radio station.
No, yeah.
That sense of word, the Whawhawhine community utilise it in a way that they call themselves to each other. It's like, there's that mala. But it's not an offensive term that they use. They've utilised this word that is used as an offensive kind of slang against us, but spinned it or twisted it around to utilise it as a word of saying, hey, there goes the sister over there. Like, those types of strategies kind of tend to work sometimes, but all in all, it's all about having a inclusive community and having a community as such. Wellington is quite lucky because they're surrounded by so many organisations that supply it. In Porirua, there's none. So it's kind of hard, and we have to rely on the people that look after our kids in schools or look after them after schools or their own families to educate them about who they are. So it's kind of unfair in the sense, but also I think Porirua needs to pick up and start running our own stuff out here.
Saviiey, I'm also aware that you are a primary trained teacher. And I think to have some sort of like support for our rainbow youth, it should start from within. Yeah, start from within the families, but it should also start from within our schools. What would you like to see happen or included in the curriculum? From primary school to intermediate to colleges. So when our rainbow youth get to that age of, okay, I'm ready to come out, they are fully equipped mentally and educationally. What would you like to see happen?
I think there's no problem with, there's no problem with the curriculum as such. I just don't, there's some things that I don't currently agree with the school systems at this point in time. I'll keep that to myself. I just believe that every person that is in a school system that because once in your lifetime, you're always going to go past somebody that identifies as a rainbow youth or a rainbow kid. Or part of the rainbow community. So it's good to have professional development in the sense of you're being educated in the sense to understand how to approach these situations when they do come in front of you or when it does occur. I highly believe that. When it comes to education, I think colleges should look at diversity and see what the different diverse communities there are. A lot of them touch base on church communities, ethnicity groups, but they don't really touch on the rainbow community as such because for one, it's a lack of knowledge, and two, it's just not knowing the right people to collab with or connect with in the sense to come and assist in that type of situation. But I know a lot of work has been done with the lovely Felicia Brown-Acton and Dr. Patrick at the moment with the Manalangi project that they're currently hosting. And we are hoping to be involved in that to get Puridoa somewhere on the research that they're currently hosting. So things are moving. It's just not moving as fast enough as we thought it would. But yeah.
First, I love Saviiey. Wow, amazing. You are a true advocate for our rainbow, youth community. Thank you so much. I'm so blessed to have you on the show. Sella, Rainbow Youth Organization. Can you tell us a little bit about what some of the services that you offer to our Rainbow Youth? And are we getting enough support from some of the government agencies, specifically for our Fa'afafine community? If we aren't, what would you like to see happen? To make sure that we get enough support, enough money, enough funding to create and design initiatives specifically for our, Fa'afafine community.
That's right. So Rainbow Youth is an organization that offers support to our Rainbow youth. So our services that we offer is peer support services, counseling sessions, as well as the programs that we offer as well for our youth. So I run 3 programs in the Wellington region at the moment, and I have. So these programs are run in Lower Hutt, in the Wellington CBD. So now these programs are pretty much just safe spaces for the rainbow community, which is open, which is totally open. But in terms of support from the government, I would love to see much, much more support, as well as the government agencies, the ministries as well, ministries of Pacific peoples. We would love to see a little bit more engagement and support, and just to know that we got backup, and saying "Famoy boy, isi kaini," not "Famoy boy," not rely, but just that support in terms of I'll say it, funding, a lot of funding. Of course, everyone needs a lot of funding, right? To run whatever. So, to create that, in my head, what I want to do, and the question that I always I ask myself, how can I make Rainbow Youth flourish in a way that is inclusive to everyone? And so that's that's what I'm literally doing. So I'm just trying to bring it to Porirua as well, and just to get the name of Rainbow Youth out there with the services, as well as community engagement and stuff.
Sella, and this is a question for the both of you. What would you like? What some sort of support that you would like from your Porirua and Wellington community for our Rainbow Youth community?
I think we can do much more than what we currently do at this point in time for our Rainbow Youth. And it's kind of sad at this time because it is COVID, so a lot of things can happen in the sense of within their own homes. So you kind of think of what these kids are currently going through at this time. So it's just things working around those, even hosting kind of workshops that they will go to that they feel more comfortable talking about, like a normal youth workshop seminar, say for instance with other Rainbow seniors that will be there to talk and assist them in some way. And you kind of go back to some students or some kids being very shy in the sense of approaching counselling and other services like that because they don't want to spill the tea per se. But there's so much things that need to happen, and like you guys touched on, with funding is a big issue here in Porirua. And what Sella and I are trying to establish is with the help of Ngā Uri o Whiti Moana and Rainbow Youth, is to establish a hub here in Porirua that focuses solely on MVP, FAF and LGBTQIA+ communities, just to generate some of our own practices and our own policies around certain stuff that collate within cultural responsiveness and not be so westernized, if that makes sense. And no offense to the Western way of how they run their stuff, but it's like they say in things, Māori for Māori, Pacific for Pacific, Samoa for Samoans. It doesn't always align right with us because some of their practices don't seem like they are responsive to our culture, if that makes sense. So that's what Sella and I are trying to do at the moment with our mentoring programs that we've got set up for next year around our Porirua communities is our biggest goal, and also with our up and coming whānau retreat that we've been trying to set up for this November, but obviously COVID might be still here in November, so it might wait till another year. So we're trying to host one of the first MVP FAF whānau retreats here for Wellington region. As you all know, the Love Life whānau that always happens every second year, wherever it's held is every second year. But we were also thinking about our communities here in Wellington and how do we engage with each other so we can go to these whānaus, the big second, every second year whānau, and go as a big collective. There's nothing better than having a big family go together as one and not go in drips and drabs, if that makes sense. And so that's our goal at the moment. So yeah, funding is an issue. Government agencies tend to supply only to those that they are used to funding and are scared to pretty much take a chance on another organisation that will probably offer the same stuff, but in a different type of way.
Thank you so much, Saviiey. I do hope some of the MPP members, staff, will get to listen to this Talanoa, because it is important that you get what you think is needed to make sure that our Rainbow Youth community gets the right support. Sella, would you like to add to what Saviiey shared?
I have nothing much to say, but I think that this is a time, this is our time to rise. A lot of how people have been working in silo, and I encourage our people, especially the LGBTQIA plus, and especially, even more especially, our MVP FAF community, to come up, whether it's in, community engagement. We need to start to have these awesome talanoas with our local ministers, our local councillors, with just reach out. It's time to talanoa. This is what we want. And this is the action that we want to see within the next 5 or so years and stuff like that. So it's time for us to rise up. Especially us Pacifica, we are strong people. We are navigators. We are people of so much value. Like that was Lefionga ya Falungo that said, all of us are people of value. We all come from royal blood, So just knowing that, putting that into our people's minds, we are people of, we're amazing. We're amazing people, and we need to be on the front of some billboard in everywhere, and the back of Cindy of Samoa's face at the back of the buses. We need more of that. So just an encouragement really to our young youth who are out there. You are of much value, much more value, more expensive than diamonds and gold and whatever. But
Taitele lava, Saviiey and Sella, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your stories and your journeys, and also my focus in Fautuanga, encouragement for our Rainbow Youth. So you've heard your advocates, your leaders on the show today, and they're gonna fight to get some funding to run initiatives specifically for our Porirua and Wellington Rainbow Youth community. So thank you so much. Wasu Neiava Noa, would you like to shout out to some of your friends or families? Saviiey and Sella?
No, I just want a big mihi out to those who already do this type of work for our community. It's such an awesome job to advocate for your own, and to be doing it now, to advocate for the next generation is the best thing possible that could happen. So big shout out to Felicia Brown-Acton. She's a very big role model for me, and the likes of Gavika Aipa as well from CNZ. He's been an awesome ally to have, and to also Drew Hadwin from Porirua from Kaingaora. And all these people represent the Rainbow community and do as much as they can to make New Zealand more inclusive and better, I guess. But do a big shout out to my Porirua family as well. Thank you for having us today, Lorenzo.
Sella?
I think a lot of my family are watching anyway, so shout out to Ainga Vaoliko, and my Roache family, as well as my youth. Pele lo loto, Ainga Paia youth. Shout out to Jarance Lole, Martha Yosia, and especially Jenny Tautua Fatai. But yeah, just thank you, Fatai. Atu first Fatai I la sunga Lorenzo Molenepo Kalame. Wow. So li vale ina I fo I maua ma se. Taile amana ia ina o maua. Or we acknowledge that you also do a lot of work for your community and the wider community that is New Zealand. We're very, and I'm so very proud to be able to be interviewed by a brown face as well, let alone a Samoan. So we need to have a lot more of these interviews, and I'm very, very honored, and it's such a big privilege for me to be on here. Lorenzo.
After tele lava Saviiey for after Sella, molitami whaanoina matango file lua whaasoa. Thank you so much for coming on the Pacific Health Talanoa show today. I'll leave you with a challenge that a seat in the parliament is waiting for one of you or the both of you. So
her, not me.
So you're doing what you're doing, and pretty sure your work does not go unnoticed. So thank you so much. I will have you for sure on the show. God bless you.
Bye.
Yeah, lena Samoa matango feel fa Talanoa Ia, manisi fo'i o tai, community leaders, i to tonu o le tātou regional Wellington, whaasoa mai fo'i ia lo la ua to mai, ia e le ngata fo'i lea, o nisi o whautuanga, o nisi o au nanga, o nisi o vaenga e te tau o na nofo sila fia i lo tātou atinuu, ina ia whapena o na maua, ina ia maua le whesoso ninga, o lo mana o mia e le tātou community a whawhawhine, ia mamole atu le nganga whawhitai. Thank you so much to special guests, Saviiey and Sella, for once again coming on the show, Pacific Health Talanoa i le neia songa fua. Ole tu ina atu sina tātou updates, quick updates for COVID-19. Mai le neia so, to say 40 male press from the Ministry of Health, that will sa'olo iai. There are 53 new cases of COVID-19 in New Zealand, in the community today. All cases are in Auckland. Lima se furu tolu ila tau whamania ila so wa maua ila whama i Whiti se furu iwa o ila tau maia e mai i Aukilani. All of the 53 cases are in Auckland, and this brings the total number of community outbreak to 562. 562. Manatula, like I said in the previous episodes, that we will start to see the drop of the numbers of active cases or new cases from say today, tomorrow, or Wednesday. Lenga fo'i o le fatoa a mata o na maua, from the thousands of tests. So I just want to leave you with just a reminder. Let's all obey the rules, very simple rules under level 4. Manatua today at 4 o'clock. Olea sau noa mai ai le palemia to sinda adern will announce down to level 3, or the whole country will stay at level 4. So tune in at 4 o'clock. My producer will stream live that press on Blue TV and Pacific Health Talanoa ia molo o sila fia. So tune in at 4. Mawai ia le whamtalanga le na mai le tātou tamaitai palemia ia Jacinda Ardern. Mamoli atu le nganga o le whawhitai. I would like to acknowledge all our frontline workers, all our essential workers. If you are working in a testing station, shout out to you. If you're working in a COVID-19, shout out to you. If you are working as from a supermarket, to all our essential workers, shout out to all of you. Thank you so much for your great service. It is not easy, but we are all in this together. We're all in this together. We got it. We did it before, and we can do it again. So let's find out at 4 o'clock if other regions apart from Auckland will go down to level 3 or staying at level 4 across the whole country. 7 minutes to 4. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to my Wellington, Wellington community. Thank you so much for supporting Saviiey and Sella on our show today. God bless you all. I love you.
Squad, baby. Rex, J. Sands.
Let's go.
Oh, say I'm a say you are complete to me, I get you. By the way that you move and the way that you smile. Say, oh my Dorima, baby. Maybe you'll be giving your hand, I'll take you anywhere. You give me something that I never had. Cause you care, but about to me and the family. Say why you waiting on me to talk to you. Yeah, I'ma listen what you say. Yeah, don't move in and come here. Yeah, they on the nail, dirty wine, girl, dirty wine. Yeah, say tama in and not the bite, get out, say.